Good morning everyone, welcome to all four e-learning classes. Chapter 2, Breathing and Exchange of Gases, Session 1. This chapter is also part of the human physiology. It is also having a significant role in the human activities. And this chapter also includes important topics for NEET. Here we start with the breathing and exchange of gases topic, which is said to be the calorie burner and energy provider. Earlier we have discussed the fuel provider and life sustainer is the digestive system. Here it is calorie burner and energy provider. The food that we have taken is so far is digested. Digested is absorbed. Absorbed is what now undergo the oxidation. Oxidation of food substances liberates the energy, and this energy is for the various metabolic activities. That's what it is. The breathing and exchange of gases, the respiration is a calorie burner, burning of the calories and providing the energy. That's what we say. Breathing and exchange of gases is a calorie burner and the energy provider. This is what name it to be the respiration. Breathing and exchange of gases is nothing but the respiration. Respiration involves the inspiration and expiration. Inspiration and the expiration. Expiration, which is also referred to be inhalation or the exhalation. Generally, the respiration is a process of mutual exchange of gases which involve the taking in air and sending out air. The mutual exchange of the intaking air and elimination of the air to the outside. Inspiration and expiration. That's what the respiration is all about. The mutual exchange. That is, the air present in the medium is taken in and it gets oxidized, liberates water and energy. This, along with the carbon dioxide, the oxidation of the food substances at the cell, the assimilated food that is stored in the different cells is get oxidized. This oxidation of food by providing oxygen liberates the carbon dioxide and water vapor, which is eliminated outside. So carbon dioxide eliminated to the outside, which is not necessary for us. Oxygen is a pure air which is necessary for the body. Carbon dioxide is a foul air. The accumulation of the carbon dioxide in the body is what fatal. It is what disturbing the body existence. The CO2 that is produced by oxidation of the food substances combines with the water in the blood and forms the what is called carbonic acid. Carbonic acid. Carbonic acid. The CO2 combines with the H2O and forms the carbonic acid. This increasing in the carbon dioxide increases the formation of carbonic acid. Increasing in carbonic acid increases the acidic status in the body, which in the sense the higher the carbonic acid due to the accumulation of CO2, the pH water decreases, acidic condition increases. Generally the pH value of the blood plasma, we say it is 7.4 alkaline condition. Any change in the plasma acidic status, that is the pH condition should be maintained. The plasma of the blood pH must be maintained 7.4. Any deviation in the pH is a fatal. The increasing in the carbonic acid, the increasing in the carbon dioxide, what increases? The carbonic acid increases the acidic level, so it comes down to 4.4 or so, higher accumulation of the CO2. This is what fatal. That's the reason why the CO2 that is produced, that is formed as a process of the oxidation of the food substance must be eliminated outside. So taking in fresh air is inspiration or inhalation, which is through external nostrils. The air passes, we can see external nostrils, nasal chamber, internal nostrils, which is present in the nasopharynx, internal nostrils, then into the pharynx, that is the part above the soft palate is the nasopharynx, then Laryngopharynx. As we have discussed, the pharynx is the common passage. So the internal nostrils lead into the pharynx, which is with the Laryngopharynx is the part of the pharynx which is a lead into the larynx. Larynx is a part of the tract, that is the passage of the gases, includes the external nostrils, nasal chamber, internal nostrils, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchiole, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, primary bronchiole, secondary bronchiole, tertiary bronchiole, terminal bronchiole, respiratory bronchiole, and alveoli of lungs. This is the passage. So this is how it reaches the alveoli of lungs, the fresh air. Then from alveoli of lungs, it diffuses into the blood capillaries. Generally, the alveoli of lungs is lined by means of the simple squamous and is with the blood capillaries. So the oxygenated air present in the lungs diffuse into the blood capillaries. Pulmonary capillaries takes this into the what is called into the left atrium to left ventricle to the left systemic aortic arch, through aorta, through different branches. It supplies the blood, oxygenated blood to the different tissues. After reaching the tissues where oxidation of food substance takes place, liberates the carbon dioxide, the foul air. This carbon dioxide in the same way from the different tissues through veins is brought back into the right atrium, right ventricle, pulmonary aortic arch, into the alveoli of lungs. From alveoli of lungs, it is that is from lungs, bronchioles, bronchi, trachea, larynx, internal nostrils, nasal chamber, and to the external nostril to the outside. This is the passage of the exchange of gases. That's what respiration is. The breathing of exchange of gases is calorie burner and energy provider. It involves the mutual exchange of the gases, name it to be the inspiration or inhalation, and expiration or exhalation. Taking in air reach the tissues where it gets oxidized. Oxidation of food substance liberates the CO2 and also energy. Energy is water stored in the form of the ATP, which can be utilized for various activities, metabolic processes, that is the energy provided. Then the CO2 is what eliminated. The existence of the CO2 in our body is a fatal. That's the reason why it is to be eliminated immediately. That's what the expiration or exhalation, the CO2 which combines with the water. This is a CO2 elimination is in the part of the transport of gases we discussed. CO2 is transported in three forms. One is said to be the physical solution, then carbamino compounds, and the third one is bicarbonates. So the more the CO2 in the body, that forms the carbonic acid. So the acidic condition increases, which influences the pH of the blood, which is a fatal, that leads to death. And then there are in our body we find the respiratory rhythmic center. Human being is with the respiratory rhythmic center, respiratory rhythmic center, which is present close to the medulla oblongata. And even we have the respiratory rhythmic center present close to the medulla oblongata, maintains the homeostasis of inhalation and exhalation, which means as the inspiration takes place, so carbon dioxide is formed, the formation of the CO2 detected by a respiratory rhythmic center and give the necessary signal to the rib cage and the diaphragm. And this necessary signal forcibly sends out the carbon dioxide to the outside. Now you may raise a doubt, how the rib cage and the diaphragm, what is the role played by the rib cage and the diaphragm in respiration? Generally the respiration we do discuss as the aquatic respiration by means of the gills, and also the respiration by means of the lungs is said to be the pulmonary respiration. Gill respiration is of aquatic, whereas the pulmonary respiration is of terrestrial. The fishes live in water, where the respiration takes place by means of gills. In the case of the gills, that is in the fishes, in the case of the gill respiration, gill breathing in the case of the fishes, there is a counter current mechanism we see. Counter mechanism. This counter mechanism enhances the respiration in the fishes. Basically, the gills are the respiratory organs in fishes, which contain a gill pouch. A gill pouch, if you see, a gill pouch is the one which is having the gill filaments. These gill filaments are highly vascularized. Vascularization in the sense provided with the blood. As the water through the gills reach the gill filaments, the water containing oxygen is taken into the blood capillaries and liberates the carbon dioxide. So oxygen enter into the blood capillaries, it is taken inside, whereas carbon dioxide liberated into the water through gill slits, it is sent out. So one is going in and one is going out. This is counter in the sense the opposite. This counter mechanism enhances the respiration in the case of the fishes. So this respiration in the case of the lungs, that is in the terrestrial medium, the first terrestrial members we say is amphibians. However, they are not completely successful. In the case of the amphibians, we see they are amphi refers to dual, that is they partly live in water and partly on land. So the larvae are completely in the water, gill breathing, whereas when they undergo metamorphosis become the adults. In the case of the adults, since they are also lead the life on the terrestrial medium, the lungs, this conversion of this evolution of aquatic medium to terrestrial medium have developed the formation of the lungs and leading to pulmonary respiration. That is with the amphibians. In the case of the reptiles, for the first time, the ventilator movements are influenced by the ribs. The ribs is provided with the muscles, name it to be the costal muscles, intercostal muscles, we say it is. Costal refer to the ribs. The intercostal muscles are what enhances the respiration. When it comes to the mammals, diaphragm is also added. Diaphragm is of dome shaped and it become a flat. The change in its position to dome and flat increases the area, thoracic value. That's the reason what I am saying, the rib cage under the diaphragm play a vital role in the sending out air to the outside. Since the rib cage, ribs are with the intercostal muscles, external intercostal and internal intercostal. Diaphragm muscles are with also associated with the diaphragm. So this respiratory rhythmic center gives necessary signal to the ribs and diaphragm. So their movement would eliminate expels the air to the outside. This is how the respiratory rhythmic center maintain the homeostasis, regulate the inspiration and expiration. Apart from that, in the human beings, the pneumotaxic center present close to the pons varoli. Pneumotaxic center present close to the pons varoli, which is responsible for maintaining the depth and the rate of the breathing. So we have our mechanism in the respiration process. This respiration, which can be the aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration, if we see, aerobic respiration in the sense the respiration where the oxygen is involved. Anaerobic respiration in the sense the breakdown of the food substances where the oxygen is not involved. Look at here, the equation we have seen here, C6H12O6. It is oxidized in presence of water into carbon dioxide, 12H2O and 36 ATP, adenosine triphosphate. This is an energy source. We have the three types of energy sources in our body: immediate source, backup source, and the source of energy. The ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is said to be the immediate source of energy. Here the oxygen is involved, so it is said to be the aerobic respiration. The process where chemical breakdown, the process in which the breakdown of the food substances involving oxygen and liberating the energy, it yields high energy. The process of the liberation of energy by exchange of gases where oxygen is involved yields a high amount of energy, is named to be the aerobic respiration. Whereas anaerobic respiration, the respiration where the breakdown of the substances where the exchange of gases does not take place. As exchange of, why? Here inspiration and expiration taking place. Here the exchange of gases does not take place, as there is no involvement of the oxygen. The breakdown of the substances which yields less amount of the energy without involving the oxygen is what named to be the anaerobic respiration, where there is no involvement of the oxygen. That's what anaerobic respiration. This is exhibited by the yeast, and also in our body the muscles also exhibit the anaerobic respiration where oxygen is not involved. Where you can see the equation C6H12O6, where no involvement of oxygen, 2CO2, ethanol, 2C2H5OH, ethanol plus 2 ATP. Now this is an evident that anaerobic respiration yields a less amount of the energy. And even this is refers to what is called the glucose, which break down anaerobically and forms the lactic acid. We do discuss in the muscles that involves the anaerobic respiration produces the lactic acid in the muscles, which gets oxidized. We discussed as a Cori cycle. Here it yields. So this is in the muscle, and this is we see in the case of the yeast, where oxygen is not involved. Here it is said to be the anaerobic respiration, yields less amount of the energy. The aerobic and anaerobic respiration differences, if we see, aerobic respiration involves the oxygen. Anaerobic respiration does not involve oxygen. Aerobic respiration yields a high amount of the energy, 36 ATPs or water generated. Here anaerobic respiration 2 ATP. So involving oxygen, do not involve oxygen. Yields high energy, yields less energy is what we see the differences between the aerobic and anaerobic respiration. In this connection, we do discuss for suppose the individual who are mountaineers in the sense that is one who goes to the high places, suffer from mountain sickness. That is the availability of the partial pressure of oxygen when as we move to the height, that is to the hilly station. Generally, the partial pressure of oxygen at 6,000 meters of the height above the sea level, where the partial pressure of oxygen is half to the sea level. What I am saying is, the persons who are mountaineers that climb or reach the high places will face a problem of mountain sickness. Why? The reason we see is as we move the high places about 6,000 meters above the high places where partial pressure of oxygen is half to the mean sea level, and they suffer from altitude sickness or mountain sickness. And how do their body supports under that condition? Mountain sickness is maintained, that is they survive under such conditions by increasing the breathing rate, the respiratory rate, and the RBC's number increase, as well as the combination of oxygen with the hemoglobin what reduces. So this is an adaptation exhibited by the body at such conditions. Apart from that, we do discuss the respiration is of the external respiration and internal respiration. Few consider that internal respiration is cellular respiration, but it is not that. Why? Now we summarize that in a detailed manner. The external respiration, the exchange of gases from the medium, that is from air or water, into the lungs and sending out that is the respiratory organs, sending out the air to the outside is what named to be the external respiration, which is also ventilation. Generally, the respiration involves one, external respiration. Next, transport of the gases. Next, the exchange of gases between blood and tissues. Next, the oxidation of food substances, which is nothing but the cellular respiration. Cellular respiration. That is the external respiration. We have just discussed the medium which contains the oxygen, that is the air. A medium can be air or else the water. The oxygen present in the air or water, first, if we take it into the case of the human beings, the oxygen that is present in the air enter into the external nostrils. External nostrils into the nasal chamber, internal nostrils, nasopharynx, where the internal nostrils, then the laryngopharynx, then through an opening called a glottis. Larynx is with an opening named with a glottis, which is covered by means of an elastic epiglottis, which closes when somebody is taking the food. We have discussed the swallowing, where epiglottis closes the glottis so that the entry of the food into the respiratory passes close. Then the larynx leading to trachea, trachea into bronchi, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, that into the bronchioles, primary bronchiole, secondary bronchiole, tertiary bronchiole, terminal bronchiole, respiratory bronchiole, and alveoli of lungs. There the oxygen is exchanged with the blood capillaries. That's what the exchange of gases we say, exchange of the gases. This exchange of gases, oxygen from the alveoli of lungs enter into the blood capillaries. Then through the blood it is transported to the tissues. That's what transport of gases. Again from the artery capillaries, the oxygen diffuses into the tissues. That is so exchange of gases we see between the alveoli of lungs and the pulmonary capillaries, then between the capillaries of the systemic circulation into the tissues. So two-way. Once the oxygen supplied to the tissues, in the tissues the cellular respiration, that is the oxidation of food substances liberating the energy, is what we name it as the cellular, as it is taking place inside the cell. So it is cellular respiration. That is intracellular respiration, whereas this is extracellular. That's what we see. Then the cellular respiration liberates the carbon dioxide. The liberated carbon dioxide exchanged into the capillaries of the veins. Veins brought the blood into the right atrium to right ventricle to pulmonary aortic arch into the lungs. Once it reaches the lungs, the capillaries of the pulmonary capillaries, there we see it is a pulmonary vein, and here the capillaries of pulmonary aortic arch. The carbon dioxide containing air into the exchanged between alveoli of lungs and the capillaries. Then from the lungs the CO2 again through the same way it is sent out alveoli of lungs. Then the bronchioles, bronchi, trachea, larynx, then through the nasopharynx, internal nostrils, then nasal chamber to the external nostril to the outside. This is what the sequence what we see in the case of the exchange of gases. Already we discussed that what is the significance of this CO, the breathing. That is the CO2, if it is, what I am asking is, if CO2 accumulated in the body, the more the CO2 that is accumulated, it leads to fatal. That's the reason why it needs to be eliminated outside. Next the thing is, why the gases diffusion takes place? When we see the case with the lower group of animals too here, Lower group of animals to the case with the higher group of. In lower group of animals, the exchange of gases takes place by diffusion. And why not here? See, all this process we have seen. In the case of, there are list of the organism we can see. In the case of the lower group of animals, that is for suppose amoeba, protozoans. Protozoans exchange of gases through plasma membrane. Amoeba through the plasma membrane. Sponges through plasma membrane. The animals, if we see, that is non-chordates and chordates, we can see a thorough examples under the respiration process. Amoeba with through body wall by diffusion. Purulence through body wall by diffusion. Here is some extent through body wall, the canal system helps. Then Cnidarians, Hydra, through body wall by exchange of the exchange of gases by diffusion. Ctenophores, body wall. Next, the case with the Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes are the members. In the case of the free living, it is by body wall through diffusion, by diffusion. Whereas in the case of the parasites, where there is no exchange of gases, nothing but anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration.